surprise. I'd rather want you to just let me be.
Welcome back to another warm-up show with the hockey coach, Joe Code Franchise directly for the beautiful country of Thailand. And we have to go all the way downtown Toronto. The giftman, Mr. ENORTAP, back in the house.
Hello, Coach. Hello, Hockey Nation. Here we are, Friday, February
Already a nice Friday,
17th.
Mr. ENORTAP. Many people are on a happy hour at that moment of the show. And we want to thank everybody be a part of the show tonight. 5 games on the program, Mr. ENORTAP, tonight in the NHL. Many others in the weekend. But last night we got, 8 games on the program. And we're going to talk about what happened because, again, not looking good if you're Calgary Flame.
No, not at all. I want to talk about that today.
Yep, we'll talk about this for sure the next couple of minutes. But before that, we would like to welcome a couple of people knock the door. First of all, the moderator, Luciano Graziano, is in the house.
Hey, welcome, Luch.
Our friend directly from Montreal downtown, talking about Mr. Gary Cournoyer is in the house. Mr. ENORTAP, welcome back. Thanks to be with us tonight.
Hello,
Mr.
Gary.
Roadrunner, Mr.
Welcome.
ENORTAP, is in the house. What about?
I like the picture.
Yeah. RJ Calabro, knock the door, Mr. ENORTAP. Welcome back, RJ.
How's it going,
directly from
RJ?
New Jersey area. He's in the house. Another from the belle province de Québec. Il est de retour avec nous ce soir. André Robert Drouin is in the house.
Welcome, Andre.
But before that, we got the super chat, Mr. ENORTAP, from Luciano Graziano. Thank you so much. Super chat, reverse, chop, chop, chop. Thank you so much for the super chat. Some hype, Mr. ENORTAP, in the program.
Luch.
That'd be great. A couple of confetti right there. I don't know. We have more confetti. Oh, it blew my mind. Here we go. Blew my mind. Thanks so much, Mr. Luciano Graziano. Thanks so much for everything, first of all. And then secondly, for moderator of the show is in the house tonight. So thank you so much, Mr. Luciano. We have Yamo Vartanen is in the house, Mr. ENORTAP. And
Welcome,
he's
Yermo.
just OMG because he said that this is the weekend.
This is it. You can relax this weekend, Yermo.
Yeah, you're absolutely right about this one over there. What's going on Calgary? Open your eyes. Yamo said about this. Our friend THG is in the house, Mr. ENORTAP. Always a pleasure having him with us.
Always.
Big fan of the Islanders and the Montreal Canadiens. Welcome aboard.
Welcome, TH.
Thank you again for the super chat of our friend Luciano. Thanks so much about this. And a friend from your south, your neighbor, originally from the south, upstate New York, Jose Duarte. Welcome back.
The assistant captain. Yes, Jose, welcome.
And our friend Double J from Toronto is in the house.
Welcome, Double J.
He was trying to get a straight or 3 time in the bus. I don't think so. It's happened. Can I recall
3
it?
in a
Maybe
row?
one time Richard Martin did
Maybe.
it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Otherwise, I didn't see it. But unfortunately, did not did it yesterday, Mr.
It's okay.
Double J. But he did pretty good in
Next
the round.
week's a new week. Next week's a
When
good
you don't go
week.
to the jail, is a great day about overall. So, Melissa Zabran is in the house directly from Detroit, Michigan.
Welcome, Melissa.
Thank you so much. We have oh many. This is the first time we welcome you inside the warm-up show. First of all, in the Hockey Nation Show family. Thanks to be with us, and don't forget to subscribe and click on the like. That'd be great. If I make a mistake,
Welcome, Omani.
we will say to you, welcome back in the house, Mr. Omani. Thanks for that. How would the league look if they got Tarasenko and Mikola? Mr. ENORTAP.
Well, how would they look?
Yeah.
Well, they'd have another top six forward for sure. Defensively, it would have helped. Offensively, I don't think they really needed Tarasenko. I still believe they have to address their defense and their bottom six. That's the key area of emphasis for the Leafs.
Yeah, great point. I think the credit card will be max out. First of all, then sorry, will be over about this.
Yeah.
That we're helping on one side but they were looking more for a left winger or many. Of course, anybody can play from right winger to say left winger. It's not a problem. But that we're helping them, but not exactly what they're looking for. I think so. Mikola will fix a little bit the situation of the left defenseman, but
On the
the
left,
problem with that part, Omani, it would not and make them better. They already have Sandon and Giordani behind a rally.
Jordan.
So it's not increasing Mikola. It's not a second pairing. It's more like a third pairing. So it's a little bit limited about this. So I don't think so that we improve the Leaf so much. I think they have other players on the market they could reach or they can add on this lineup for the roster for them. But great question, Duncan. We appreciate that. They were a funny thing in Finnish league. Some fans have a poster where read thinking for better. Mr. ENORTAP.
Interesting.
Yeah. So maybe better play in Finland next year.
I doubt it. I doubt that very much.
Yeah, it was maybe a message for someone or the team in NHL. But moi, Mr. Yamo, thanks to be with us. Thanks a bunch, love. You're welcome, Andre. Always a pleasure having you aboard. Open your
Welcome, Andre.
eyes open the eyes. That was the intro song. Yeah, I think I need to open my eyes on that because it's a tough night. Tough night. Tough
Tell
night.
us about it, Coach.
I miss when we, that kind of we put in the nose before the game start. I need those stuff like that this morning.
The smelling salts. The smelling
Yeah.
salts.
Yeah, I need some kind of salt like that to wake up myself. But it's okay, not big deal. Our friend Joseph Laham from Houston is in the house, Mr. ENORTAP.
Welcome, Joseph.
He's smiling, but what happened with the Devils yesterday, Mr. ENORTAP?
Our good old Devils, not a good one yesterday against the St. Louis team
Joseph said
that we thought
4-2
they were going to
Devils
win.
last night, so we won 4-2.
Yeah.
We're listening,
yeah,
defense.
Yeah. We should have. Because St. Louis, I don't know. I don't know. Where are they getting these points, St. Louis? All of a sudden?
I don't know. It's a good week for them anyway. Luciano have a question. Minnesota and Calgary are seriously horrible. Must-win game and they don't show up. Great question about this, Luciano. All this question, Mr. ENORTAP, I have a subject for that. So we will wait.
Me too.
But there are couple of more teams we have. Jeffrey Corey from Taiwan is in the house.
Hey, Jeffrey, welcome. Yeah, I need to vent a little bit about Calgary. You're right.
Not a
Coach.
problem, Yamo. All good. And then we have, there we go. Jeffrey, you're welcome. Omani, it's a pleasure. Band name, Yamo. I don't know. I'm lost in right now, Yamo. But it's okay. Duncan, 3-5. Someone make the GM start trading. Duncan, 3-5. Welcome back.
No.
I think Duncan is back in the house, but we'll welcome him. If
we
not,
want
welcome.
excitement on the trade deadline date. We don't want all the trades to be done before.
Yeah. Someone make the gym start trading. They already start, honestly, with 2 trades so far, but
Yes.
it's right now, Mr. Tap, most of the team have 5 to 7 games to go before the trade deadline, March 3rd, right? And many
Yeah.
teams right now are in the bubble. And that's happening about this one. I would say, example, Ottawa. What do you do? I would say Minnesota. What do you do? Nashville. What do you do? And I can go all the way like that, right? Calgary. What do you do? Washington. What do you
Islanders.
do?
Yeah.
And that's when maybe the
Pittsburgh.
salary cap is not a problem. So they're holding their equation about this, and then we're going to talk about a little bit more. One player is not going to be trade. Is a key key players. So we'll talk about him the next couple of minutes. So, but that's the reason why, Duncan, you're going to have more action at the beginning of the March and NHL. Something we're going to looking for that. It was the worst team in Finland late. That's why. That's what I thought about this, Yamo. When I comment about this, that's a good one about that one. So announced today he has signed a 5-year contract at Hank Walker to a 1-day contract, Mr. Natap. All right.
Okay.
Great to hear that, Mr. RJ. About this, I was trying to figure out what it was, but now I got it. 1 year the contract is just for young kids. That's great to see that. April Moon, yes, April Moon. Yeah, you got it, my Yamo. Tough for me at 6 o'clock in the morning to follow the April Moon this morning about that one over there. That's we got everything, Mr. Natap, right there. We appreciate a lot. And Mr. Natap, we have to see where we at this moment. First of all, we want to thank some people. Peter August, a run with Kings 26 and 2. Mr. Enartap, both of them are.
Congratulations.
And boss for today, we're going to congratulate a little bit more. Do we put this on the boss? Why not? Let's put this on the boss, Mr. Enartap. Why not? The boss is already ready. It's already at the corner. Meanwhile, Mr. Nartap, we got a super chat at $10.
That's
Mr. Nartap,
it.
we have to talk about Mr. Jimmy Beam. Beam is in the house. Here we go.
Yes. Welcome.
Super chat, River, chop, chop, chop. $10, Mr. Nartap, super chat from a friend, Jimmy Beam.
Hype, hype.
Hype for him. There we go. We'll go. We like the blew my mind this morning at this night, Mr. Tap. So let's go with this one over there. Thanks so much, Jimmy Luciano, 2 seconds super chat of the day. So very kind of each one of you. Really appreciate. And the boss was on the street at that moment. RJ, we appreciate a lot. Tender get a lot of fun in Pattaya, Jeffrey. Yeah. A lot of boom boom.
Speaking
And,
from experience, Jeffrey.
a lot of boom boom and for $10, but that's a subject for the time. About that, Mr. Tap. No, I lost the control of this subject. What I was supposed to do with those television, but we have to go with what got your attention, Mr. Tap. We mentioned we have 8 games yesterday, and here are the 8 team won yesterday: Carolina, Columbus Blue Jackets, Detroit, Boston, Seattle, St. Louis, Vegas, and the Florida Panthers. Ouch for Washington Capitals.
Yeah,
but,
ouch is right.
Thanks so much, Jimmy. Ren Kirk, the Captain Kirk, Mr. Tap, just knocked the door. The captain is in the house.
Welcome, Ryan. Yeah, coach, you know what? Again, points that are being left on the board all over the place. So you look at Winnipeg could have picked up two quick points. No, they lost to Columbus by a score 3-1. Florida picks up two very important points. That was a 4-point game for them, really, when you think about it, because they were playing Washington. Not much of a challenge there. I mean, Washington made a bit of a run when they were up 3-0 or 4-0. It ended up 6-3 for Florida. Nashville looked looked like they were playing, men against boys. I thought Boston totally took over that game for sure, and they look like Nashville needs to do some major rebuilding there. They did not look good at all. We talked about St. Louis defeating New Jersey. I mean, New Jersey's in a good position, so it's not a huge setback for them. But the big games I thought was the Vegas winning over San Jose gave them a lot more trouble than we anticipated. Actually, they were losing 1-0 for the majority of the game, and then 2 goals in the third period sealed the deal for them. Um, the other game, and that's really what I wanted to talk about, Coach, was Detroit against Calgary. Detroit's really making a push right now, which is great for them. They like when we looked at their schedule for the month, we thought, hey, if they can find 3 or 4 victories in this month, it'll be hard pressed. But they've been playing great hockey, and I think they're up to 7 wins already in that span. So good for them. Calgary, where do you start, Coach? Let's take a couple moments to talk about that. And the comments that came down today by Huberdeau's agent were not received well by the organization. It wasn't received well. I don't think even by Huberdeau, who sort of dismissed himself from those comments and said, that's not me saying those things. I I think when you're looking at the situation, you have to look at it from different points of view. I don't think it's just one contributing factor to why Calgary's in the position that they've been in. I think it's a combination of a few things. Number one, when we dissect the trade that happened over the summer, including the free agents that left, and I just jotted down some notes here. You have Matthew Tkachuk left for Florida. He's up to 75 points at a plus 16. You have Johnny Gaudreau, who left to Columbus. He hasn't had a great year, but he's got 52 points. His plus minus is not very good, but then that's partly because of the team he's on. He's at minus 16. So altogether, that's 127 points that left Calgary. So who comes into Calgary's situation? Well, Johnny Huberdeau, who has a total of 36 points and is at a minus 2, which I think is quite significant. And also Nazem Kadri comes in, who's had a good year. He's up to 40 points. Ironically, he has more points than Huberdeau on the second line, and he's at a minus 10. So altogether, that's 76 points and a minus 12. So when you look at the differential between that trade alone and then the combination of those things, you're looking at, roughly, I'd say about 50 points less. And if both in goals and assists. So, if Calgary has those extra 56 points, where they'd probably be. They'd be a lot higher in the standings. That's number one. Number two, the coaching. What's the old saying? I think coaches are hired to be fired. And maybe we're getting to that point with Daryl Sutter now in Chicago, in Calgary. It seems like maybe players are sort of detaching themselves from the message. We don't know, obviously, what's going on behind closed doors with the players and the coach, but it can't be a positive situation when we see things coming out like that. Number three, we look at players last year that had career years, and I'm talking about guys like more specifically Markstrom. He had a great year last year. So you would expect that there'd be some kind of regression this year, and there has been, and then some, because he's not looked very good at all. And Vladar, who was doing his job, now has to be playing more games than he usually is accustomed to, and therefore is not really in a position to pull it through for them single-handedly. So the goaltending has been the third thing. And when you put all of this together, Coach, the last year also they didn't have very many man games lost, especially on defense. All their defense were very healthy this year. We've already two or three defensemen that have been out for extended periods of time. So obviously that's going to hurt. And the last thing I'll end off on is when you sum it up, they're emblematic of what's wrong sometimes with a lot of the teams. Calgary's the type of team that over the last, I'd say, 15 to 20 years has always finished in the middle of the pack. And really, that's the worst position you could finish because you're not good enough to make a serious run for the Stanley Cup, and you're not bad enough to draw, in the top 10, or at least in the top five would be nice, but um, they don't draw good draft picks, and therefore they don't have something to build on. So they're going to have to make a big decision after this year, whether they make the playoffs or not. That's irrelevant. It's a direction that they need to go into. Do we break this down and build from the bottom up, or do we, push and this is harder to do because of the salary uh, cap. Do we try to build and top-notch players into the organization? If you look at the last, like I said, 20 years, they've only had, I think, in the top 10, they've only had, I think, three players, and they haven't been very high picks. I think the highest one was Sam Bennett, who was picked fourth in the first round, and that was their best pick, and he's no longer with the team now. So that's it. That's all in terms of my rant.
Yeah, just to add about Calgary, the manager, whatever the general manager, have no contract next season, so it'll be very interesting to see that what happening to him. So that's a big decision they're going to do. So, with all what you just said, you're right. And then I would said, the good news are not really behind too much yet. That's the good news. They still have a chance to turn around that table and then find a way to come back and then maybe win 5-6 games. But the inconsistency is really the key on that team, and the no chemistry. They have some kind of discommunication between the player and the coach, unfortunately, and look like the coach is a bit butthead, and that's happening about this. So we'll be interested what's going on over there. Mr. PPP is in the house. Mr. Tap, welcome aboard. Thanks to be with us
Welcome.
tonight. And then we have Jimmy directly from BC, by the way. So glad to hear that, Mr. Tap. So yeah, Seattle Kraken won yesterday. I just want to add that game on the table. Boston flying with nothing else, quiet, but they get and this is getting Calgary down yesterday. Nashville with that with that loss again, that team is getting out of the playoff race. About
sure.
that, it's
Yeah,
it's
for
a
sure.
it's a funny, great comments at the end of the day, Mr. Tap, from Gary. Gary said Calgary remind me a lot of the Bergevin area at the last of his season. I would not be disagree with it. I think it's a good point
No,
about
and
that one
yeah,
over there.
totally,
Yep.
totally.
Uh,
And we emphasize just Montreal because that's the team that we're sort of highlighting. But you can argue this for many other teams, and it's hard. It's hard to build a championship team. It's not an easy task, especially with the salary cap.
Yeah, absolutely. That Jimmy, thanks so much for the super chat. He's watching the absence 1970s. Another one great one about that one there. And again, we want to welcome back Roger Delaney, Mr. Tap. He's not here right now, but I'm sure he's listening or is around. So thanks so much to be with us. 3 stars
Welcome.
the night. Of course, Zeb Jarvis, a hat trick again, a Montreal Canadian yesterday, 9, 10, 11 goals of the season. Then Yannick Gourde, many of the players have 3 points, but he's the only one with 2 goals yesterday for the Seattle Kraken. He's lead W again, the Flyers last night. We always expect better. Like you
Hmm.
mentioned, the Flyers respond against the Seattle
I thought
Kraken.
so.
Again, Bernier back in the lineup the last 2 games, and you can see the domination of the Seattle the last 2 games. So it's funny to see that, but sometimes we always said one player put everybody on the right chair.
Yeah,
And that's happening right now.
absolutely.
And swimming, another shootout. Swimming don't have a great year like we thought he's going to get, but since December, swimming is back like a earned mark, and Boston continues to dominate anywhere, anyhow how they play against everybody. So great game for swimming, the Boston Bruins. Let's go. Let's go with the recap game for the Montreal Canadiens yesterday, Mr. Notap. They lost by the score 6-2. I'm going to give you a little bit the negativity, what happening, and then you can talk resume the game. 41 shot again, Montembeault, a lot of shot. -4. That enough?
Yeah, yeah,
Kovacevic and Whiteman, and Whiteman is lucky because he was 5 of the 6 goals on the ice, but he got a +1 at some point, so he's like a -4. Then to win -3 yesterday, Baron left the game, Mr. Nartap, and then the only one
yes.
consistent performing right now is RHP. Scored his 7 goal of the season and the 10 game he played so far, and that's happening yesterday. 2-2 after 40 minutes. I would like to give us a bit a resume quickly about this game between the Canada Hurricane.
Well, I mean, we're seeing Coach what a well-oiled machine this Calgary Hurricane team is. They've got a lot of depth. They can roll 4 lines out at you at any point. Are they missing that top-notch key player? I mean, you can make argument that obviously Sebastian Aho is at that level. You can sort of even say that Nakash is coming into his own for sure. But they don't have that particular type of superstar elite kind of player. But it doesn't matter because when you have a team that is as well balanced as they are, they play a solid defensive game, and it's not just the defenseman; it's the entire team that buys into it. And you have the goaltending that they have. I mean, that's the ingredients for a championship type of team.
Yep. Um, the forecheck of the cabinet was excellent, Mr. Top, last night. The Montreal Canadian
Absolutely.
defensemen could not do anything. They couldn't do anything. Secondly, I would say to you, they bring the puck in front of the net. Like everything they do, they bring the puck in front of the net. They have always someone in front of the net in case something happened there. So they really engage the player to drive to the net, crash to the net, or that's what they do very well. The Canada Hurricanes. So for me, was there. People saw Montreal was pretty good. 2-2 after 40. They gave 3 goals and 3 minutes 54 seconds. But whatever it was 2-2, the game was not show exactly what it was the score because Canada was most of the time dominate
Yeah,
that game, and then Montreal scored 1 or 2 goals on the power play, by the way. And honestly, it was just a question of time before the Canada score those kind of goals. You feel it was coming very soon, and
absolutely.
that show exactly what they had Carolina versus Montreal. Montreal, and again, we just talk about the players set up that's the right share for the saddle. But last night, without Kirby Doc, but I think we have no share. Yeah, last night with Montreal because now you must fire Belzil now between Dadenoff and Hoffman does not do well. Pitlick tried to go back in the lineup. Drouin struggled with that line with Armia yesterday with Pitlick. So you can see that it was completely not the same lineup for the Montreal. Everybody was trying to get some kind of chemistry, and obviously for Montreal
Yeah,
was not good enough. Talking about one plus, parce que Byron left the game, Mr. Nartap, and by the fact he left the game, don't expect him to come back. We expect now a new player coming from the Laval Rocket. Who do you expect they will call up after the game Rocket play tonight? I would not be surprised they call one from Laval Rocket.
well, I'd like personally, I would like to see Trudeau and um, just to see what he's capable of doing at an NHL level. Although seeing Norlander might be more, uh, um, might be a better idea for Montreal management because it'll show once and for all whether Norlander has that capability of staying with the team, and maybe do they see some kind of improvement so that they can build on that for next year, or has he totally gone south and maybe they have to think of somehow dismissing him right at some point. It's unfortunate to say because we had such high hopes for him. I hope it's not Schuneman at this stage that they bring up. I don't think that serves the purpose of Montreal's development at all. And Bodine, I don't know very much about, to be honest with you.
Yeah, for me, I would go with Baudin, 23 years old. Yeah, played in NHL before, have a good stretch like Trudeau. I just tried to see what Baudin looked like in NHL. I think if I have a chance, Trudeau is still behind, I think so. And I think I would not change his way easy right now. So I think Baudin, he can figure out if because I think Baudin can fight for the spot if ever we losing Edmondson example or any other defenseman for the Montreal Canadiens. So I would go with Baudin, but we'll see what happens. Montreal could go with Schoenemann. But they need a left defenseman, and all the defensemen we put there, Mr. Top, is all left defensemen. So that's the reason we don't put
Yeah.
any right defensemen. Montreal don't have enough. Finishing this show for before we go to the prediction, Mr. Top, a couple of news. Vancouver announced now Pearson is on the long-term injury reserve. This is done deal. Welcome back tomorrow, Mr. Top, for Boston Bruins, Jake DeBrusk, and New Jersey. Jack Hughes is back with them tomorrow, so helping the Devils and the Boston Bruins, so what they needed. Edmonton Yamamoto back in the lineup tonight again, the New York Rangers. Toronto, I got Matthews last night, scored a goal. Then Chicago, Mr. Natap, big news happening a couple hours ago. Don't go nowhere. He's not going to go nowhere. So you have to remove him on the leaderboard of the trade deadline, Mr. Natap.
Mr. Taze.
Yep. So I just want to mention this. And then you want to see a bit more thing about tonight's game. Edmonton, Holloway, and Desharnais, direction of the American Hockey League for Edmonton. Ottawa, Watson, Sanderson, Holden is out of the game tonight. Minnesota, Kel Allison, the rookie for them, have a great year so far. Healthy scrap for the second game for them. So I just want to give you an idea what's going on over there. If we have time after your 5 games, Mr. Natap, we're going to talk about some trouble in the team. The Calgary, the Washington, and the Minnesota. 3 teams lost, and they have a really bad stretch right now. So we're going to go back with that one. But let's move on now, Mr. Natap, on the prediction of the game. We have 5 games on the program tonight in NHL. For Friday night, it's pretty busy. You think about that. And so that would be something to follow up for sure, Mr. Natap. But it's time to get the gel, Mr. Natap. Are you ready for the gel time? And we have one name to mention. It's Randy N. is the only one, Mr. Natap. He's going to be in direction of the gel for the weekend, obviously, for him.
Oh, boy. It
is what it is. But are you ready? Here we go.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all. He's stuck in the cell. He's now locked with Mr. Natap. That's a good way. Have a great weekend, Mr. Randy N. And hopefully you're going to have a better prediction of the 5 game we have on the program, Mr. Natap, tonight. Before we, that's what we got. I'm going to get next subject after that, Mr. Natap. So here we go, Mr. Natap. Chicago again, Ottawa Senator.
Remember what I said. Don't take Chicago the rest of the year. Mrazek against Sogart, it looks like are the 2 goalies. It's been confirmed. The Hawks, they're wrapping up a 4-game Canadian road trip in Ottawa tonight. They've really struggled especially since the All-Star game, but pretty much all year. But since the All-Star game, they've lost 4 out of their last 5 games, and the only win came in overtime against the Coyotes. On the other hand, the Senators have, as traditionally they do, they've been on fire. They've won 6 out of their last 7 games, and they've looked quite impressive in their victories. In the last month or so, the Hawks have been one of the worst defensive teams in the NHL. They do a terrible job, if you ask me, of preventing scoring chances. They rank last in expected goals against in the league. All that pressure that they allow has really caught up to them. And right now their goals for ranked 26th in the league, which is not very good. You put that together with the fact that in the last 7 games, the Blackhawks are 1-7 versus an Atlantic Division team, and and uh, and the Senators, for whatever reason, they like to play on a Friday night. Last 8 Friday night games, they're 7-1. So that leads me to take the Ottawa Senators tonight by a score of 5-2.
Ottawa Senator, 5-2. Sorry, Miss Senator. I was watching the number 25 for the Ottawa Senator and the rafter, Chris Neal, Miss Senator.
Mm-hmm.
So I was watching
Tonight's
this
his
at now you're
night.
talking.
Tonight's his night.
You're absolutely right about this. You just changed my mind. 4-2, Miss Senator.
Okay.
And we have Mr. Stefan member in the house, directly from Sweden. Thanks so much to be
Hey,
with us, Mr.
Stefan, long
Stefan,
time
one
no
member.
see.
Thanks so much.
Welcome.
Game number 2.
Who do we have here, Coach? The
Islanders,
Islanders
Pittsburgh,
and
Mr. Tap.
Pittsburgh. Ooh, big game. The proverbial 4-point game, right?
Yeah.
Um, 2 Metro Division teams. They're gonna. This is gonna be a big battle. I think there's a lot of hostility between these 2 teams. It looks like the Smith is up against Sorokin in terms of net minding. The Penguins have been. I'd say the best way I could put it is they've been frustrating to really trust this year, uh, because they fluctuated from at times looking very, very good to other times when they've looked horrible. I know they've been faced with a lot of injuries, but so have many other teams as well that are in the fight for a playoff spot, and they've come through. The Islanders, are ever since they made the trade for Bo Horvat, have been playing much better hockey, I think. And they're going to make definitely a push to try to get into the playoffs. They're not far off right now. I think they're either tied with Washington, if I'm not mistaken, or just a point behind for that last spot. But the home team in the last 5 games between these two has gone 4-1. And since this game is in Long Island, we're going to take the New York Islanders to win by a score of 4-2.
4-2, Mr. Tap.
Yeah,
Good to you. 3-2, Mr. Tap. Islanders.
3-2. You didn't see that empty net goal coming?
No, I see an overtime.
You see an overtime? Okay. I see a Bo Horvat empty net goal.
Tough game, this 1-2 for Minnesota tonight.
Oh boy. And I guess we'll later on end off talking about Minnesota, but yeah, tough situation to be in, Coach. We knew last year that eventually the issues with some of their players that they bought out was going to catch up to them, and it seems like it has this year a little bit. Ironically, they opened up the year, if you recall. They played the first 3 or 4 games at home, and if you remember, they were getting blown out of games. Like they were allowing like 6, 7 goals in the first week or week and a half of the season, and they seem to have sort of addressed that issue because defensively they're doing much better. It's the fact that once you go beyond that first line, they're not getting the secondary scoring, and that's been the big problem with the Wild. Dallas, even though lately they've kind of been very mediocre, they're still getting points when they have to. I think they're, if I'm not mistaken, I think they're 4-2 in the last 10 games that they've played. Not at the same pace that they were at before, but I think they've got the better goaltending. Tonight it's Ottinger against Gustafsson, and that's confirmed. And the Stars, they defeated the Wild in their most recent game against each other by a score of 4-1. And I think that they'll beat them again tonight, but it'll be a very close game. I'm going to go with Dallas in overtime by a score of 3-2.
3-2 MILESTONES for you, Dallas. Awesome. We have few people took Dallas. I go there, but add more goal. 4-3 MILESTONES.
Okay.
That's what we got so far. And Dallas Double J said this, and then Melissa said the wall 3-2. Kings and the Ducks.
The Kings and the Ducks. Oh man. Well, the Ducks they come into this game having just lost to the Buffalo Sabres by a score of 4-3 on Wednesday night. They, as you can see, they have a record of 17, 32, and 6. They sit in last place in the Pacific. And they're one of the teams that's definitely going to be competing for the lottery to try to draft Connor Bedard come June. This team is just, they're one of the worst teams in the league. They rank 31st in goals for with 138, and last place in goals against with 230 that they've allowed. Really, I would almost put them in the same category as Chicago. There isn't any really big reason to trust them in many of the games. I know they have, from time to time, they've gotten some good goaltending out of Gibson, who is starting tonight, and I believe he's going up against Copley tonight. But they're rare, those offensive explosions that they get. The Kings, they stroll into Anaheim after a 5-2 win over Buffalo Monday night, and they're currently sitting in third in the Pacific. They're looking to make a finish off with a nice run towards the end of the season and maintain their playoff status. They've been one of the better teams in the Western Conference as of late, and you can look at guys like Fiala, who's having a very good year. Kopitar has led the charges, and then they've gotten scoring from many different other players. So the secondary scoring has definitely picked up. It's not just one line that's needed. So I'm going to take LA to win this, even though they're in Anaheim, by a score of 4-2.
4-2 MILESTONES.
4-2. Yeah.
5-2 MILESTONES.
5-2.
And the big game of the night.
Oh yeah, we're treated to a very exciting matchup tonight, Coach, between the New York Rangers and Edmonton Oilers at Rogers Place. The Stars will be out tonight with McDavid and Draisaitl for the Oilers, Panarin and Fox and Zibanejad, Tarasenko for the Rangers. They're going to lead the way, of course. These two teams both have very good rosters, and both can explode offensively at any time with the talent that they have. New York is slated as an underdog in this matchup, but I believe it's only due to the fact that they're on the road in Edmonton tonight. There's very little really to pick between these two teams. The Rangers have been on a complete tear as of late, especially since the acquisition of Tarasenko. They have not lost in regular season, in regular time this month. They've gone 7-0-1, and with Tarasenko's 3 games, they're averaging. I know it's a very small sample size, 3 games, but they're averaging 6 goals. The Oilers, on the other hand, have not been as much on fire. Like lately, they've only, in the last 4 games, they've gone 1-1-2. And 3 of those losses have come against the Flyers, the Canadiens, and the Red Wings. So it's not like they were playing world beaters here either. The Oilers have won 6 of the last 10 head-to-head games against the Rangers. And I definitely think the Rangers have a good shot here. This is one game it was very hard for me to call. I like the fact that I think the deciding factor could be in net, like when you look at Shesterkin versus Skinner. But Skinner hasn't played poorly either. So um, I was going to go with New York, but I think in overtime, I think Edmonton really needs this game just to sort of pull away from the teams that are trying to get into the playoffs with them. So I'm going to take the Oilers by a score of 4-3 in overtime.
Sounds good to me, Mr. ENORTAP. You a little bit surprised me, Mr. ENORTAP, with that one with it. But I go at Edmonton already 4-3 overtime too. I was expect. I think Rangers last bowl game again in Edmonton, and or something like that. I
Yeah.
read something they lost, so I'll go with Edmonton on that one 4-3, and yeah, will be
They're a
interesting.
little bit more desperate.
Jean
Plus, you
Gréga,
know who has to
yep,
you
and
know
Jean
who has to
Gréga
get
is in the
100
house,
points
Mr. ENORTAP.
tonight.
We want to welcome back Mr. Jean Gréga. That was the last game of the program,
Welcome,
the fight
John.
game. Mr. ENORTAP, we're almost end of the show. We want to invite everybody. Don't forget my AB Daily News. Yesterday was the AB trade deadline. No value anymore for Montreal Canadiens. Whatsoever they can trade, I don't expect them to get some great value about this and return. So you can watching this video. And I'm talking about the recap game between Carolina. That was easy video yesterday, not too much deep about the Montreal Canadiens. So we have at the end of the show, Mr. ENORTAP, and we're going to finish a little bit earlier tonight anyway. Not many things, not many news around the league, but what you're looking for, not only maybe tonight, but maybe during the weekend, Mr. ENORTAP.
Well, the weekend I haven't really looked into all the games, but I'm sure there's a ton of games on Saturday. I think there's a total of
Montreal, Toronto, first of all.
12. Well, yeah, but that's an easy one. Take Montreal, you'll be fine. We live rent free in Toronto's head. You know that, Coach. So
I will
Montreal
add
won't
one
have
more
a
game.
problem.
Vegas owns the Tampa Bay Lightnings.
Oh, that should be a good one. Where is it, in Tampa Bay?
No, in Vegas. And then Detroit
In
or in
Vegas.
Seattle Saturday night, Mr. ENORTAP.
Yeah, that's going to be an interesting one.
Edmonton visit Colorado Sunday.
Hmm.
The Jets play the Devils Sunday.
That'll be a good
And
matchup.
for the Bedard, Jacket play Coyotes.
You're right. I mean, tonight, the big game is the Rangers and Edmonton, followed
Yeah,
closely by Pittsburgh and
I
the
don't have too
Islanders.
much to do tonight. So what if possible, like usual, we do Montreal Canadiens, but Montreal don't have a lot of things to talk. We go through a lot of things during the week. Maybe I will go the game tonight, the play-by-play Rangers versus the Edmonton
Good
Oilers. I'm
idea.
not sure yet, but I think I'm looking for. I think of that direction. So
I'm
it'll be
feeling the
interesting.
love out there.
I'm sorry again.
Lucky. I'm feeling the love. I see a few punching bags there and punching gloves for the comment I made about the Leafs, but that's okay.
Yeah, we know about that one for sure. That's pretty much what we got for tonight. I know we finished a little bit earlier,
Sounds
like I
great.
said about this, but we're going to go back next Monday, Mr. ENORTAP, for another great weeks of our NHL, definitely. But until then, we want to invite everybody. Don't forget, guys, to click on the likes before you leave the building. Of course, follow all the Hockey Nation Live show. Subscribe if you can, and that'd be great. And of course, we want to remember one more time to Mr. ENORTAP, because he deserves this. He deserves for sure. Before you leave that building, we want to thank him. Of course, here we go, Mr. ENORTAP. We have one more tap to go. You are awesome.
Awesome.
You are amazing. You are the best. And remember, you have greatness inside of you. Yes, Mr. ENORTAP, you did it all week with some kind of greatness for the prediction of the evening every time. Hopefully, guys, you have an amazing, great week with our warm-up show. Don't forget, 9 o'clock tonight. We're not sure it's going to be game or Montreal Canadiens. We're going to have to decide this in the next 30 minutes. Until then, we wish everybody an amazing, great weekend. Follow Montreal Canadiens tomorrow night. Get a Toronto and play the hockey night in Canada, hockey night in Thailand. Until then, my friend, be well, be healthy. Find a way not only dominate your day, but find a way to dominate the first half of what, Mr. ENORTAP?
Year 2023.
He did it again for one more time, Mr. ENORTAP. We wish you an amazing, great weekend, Mr. ENORTAP. Glad having you with me all week. I will see you on Monday. And, of course,
My pleasure,
5-0 for Mr. ENORTAP tonight.
Let's hope. Let's do it, Coach.
An amazing, great weekend,
Good night.
Mr. ENORTAP.
Good night. Good night, Hockey Nation.